Hi everyone, so Emerson joins us today for the Next Grad Cracker webinar. We are joined by Lee, Talent Management and Development Leader, and three graduates, Chloe, Alex and Catherine. Lee, before we meet the graduates, I'm going to start with you. So could you give the audience an overview to who Emerson is and also your role within the business?
Yeah, well, Emerson, they're an American-owned company, founded in around 1890, I think it was. But from a UK sort of perspective, we've got about 2,800 employees across the UK, based mainly over four kind of sites. We've got an office in Leicester, Stockport, Aberdeen, and then we've got two offices over in Ireland. We've got a Dublin office and a Cork office. So typically the employees are spread across those offices. We're a leader in helping manufacturers automate and optimize their production. So using our technologies, our industry expertise, we help manufacturers get to that end point that they're looking for. So they'll come to us with a problem, and hopefully they'll go back to them with a solution. So our expertise comes in the shapes of measurement and instrumentation products, control systems, asset management, consulting, those kinds of things. And it's across sort of multiple industries, so oil and gas, life science, chemical, energy, those kinds of things. My role is talent management and development leader, as you said. So it's a role which has been created probably for about 18 months now, and it's really to focus purely on the graduate program. So helping the new graduates come into the business, helping them settle into the business, and being a touch point of them throughout the program to be that first point of contact. So whether it's regarding career development or any issues with the program, anything like that, they've got me as a resource they can come to alongside their manager and mentor and buddy and so forth.
Brilliant, thanks Ian. Lee is a lovely resource to have. You know, you're certainly such a friendly person, and I know we've met you on numerous occasions, so we always have a good laugh together. And just thinking about, Emerson as a business. So you mentioned obviously, you're bases around the world as well. For the UK people, the UK employees, can you get involved in projects around the world as well?
Yeah, the opportunities are worldwide. So as I say, we touch probably most countries in the world. So there's opportunities to go wherever you want to go with your career. So if you want to stay UK based, then you can. You can go to Europe, the US, wherever. We've had graduates. One of our very first graduates, I think from around 2012, joined us the engineering program, but is now within the marketing team based out of the Netherlands. So there's definitely opportunity to go wherever you want to go with your career. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you, Lee. And just to enlighten the students who are watching the webinar, what opportunities do you have open at the moment, and who are you looking at recruiting into those opportunities?
Yeah, so we've got 4 commercial opportunities, so they'll be based across the UK. So you'll spend time in all of our UK offices, so Leicester, Stockport and Aberdeen, and you'll probably visit some of the island offices as well, potentially, and maybe even some of the factories. So there's 4 opportunities within that commercial sales engineering role. And then there's 3 opportunities with the island offices. So they're the engineering vacancies, and they'll be based out of either Dublin or Cork, depending on the individual's location. We'll decide which office is best suited for them. Yeah,
and I know that a lot of our audience will be thinking commercial. So what does, you mentioned 2 scary words, and I am scared of the word sales. So from commercial sales, what will the students be doing? What does that actually mean?
So when we say commercial engineer, a lot of people perhaps won't understand what that means. So it's more of a customer facing or customer focused kind of role. So you'll be dealing with the endpoint user, you'll be talking to customers, understanding what their needs, requirements are, and then hopefully coming to a conclusion in terms of what that product or service may be for that particular manufacturer or end user. So whilst it's a sales engineer role, it's not probably your typical sales role that you might expect when you went to the word sales. So it doesn't have to be a scary word when you say it, definitely. And hopefully Alex and Chloe and Catherine can talk a little bit about that later on as well.
Yeah, definitely. So later on in the webinar, we will speak to all 3 of the grads about their experiences and really what their role includes as well. So we can cover that off then. Really appreciate the introduction, Lee. Thank you very much. I'm going to be joining Lee a little bit later on as well, towards the end of the webinar with further questions. So just to go back, I mentioned our relationship that we've got with Lee personally, but I've got some really personal experience with Emerson. When I was just starting out at Gradcracker many years ago now, 9 years ago, I think it was, I actually had a meeting. I don't know if you all know this, but I actually had a meeting with Emerson in Harrogate. And we got talking, and normally we'd say that these meetings are going to be like for an hour long, for example. So I was talking to my contacts at the time. An hour led to 2 hours, which just goes to show how lovely people are, because we can talk forever. But then I was actually asked to present completely off the cuff to some of the directors there. And I must have been there about 4 hours in total, Jess. I think you were thinking about me in the office.
Yeah, thinking, where is she? We haven't heard from her.
Just she hasn't called me yet.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you this because it just goes to show how important preparation is. If I hadn't thoroughly prepared and done my research on Emerson, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did. And to date, that is one of my career highlights. And it's something that, when we've got new staff to Gradcracker, I tell them all about it. Preparation is the key. And a common theme, just to take it back to you, the audience, a common theme in all of these webinars we are running, and when we speak to the students, is about how nervous and apprehensive you all are about situations such as interviews and assessment centres and meetings and presentations. I was really, really nervous about going into the situation, and it goes to show two things really. So nerves are normal, nerves show that you care, but it also gave me a lot of confidence. So when I came out of being put in that situation, I did, it sounds a bit cliche, but I did feel like I came out a different person, because it did go to show that I've gone into that situation not knowing what I was going into really, but because I'd done my preparation, because I'd done my research, it went really well. And I think as a person, and in my career, it's made me, it's given me a lot of experience, which I just wanted to share with you. Leads really nicely on to the Gradcracker hubs on Gradcracker, the Emerson hub on Gradcracker, sorry, which it's got lots of information on there which you can reference back to when you're putting your application together, so including video, what learning and development opportunities are open to you, and also the locations that you can be based in. So there's no excuse. Make sure you do your research, make sure you prepare, and then you'll actually enjoy the experience, such as assessment centres, interviews and everything else. So enough for me, let's speak to the grads. Chloe, I'm going to start with you. So all three of the grads actually found out about their job and applied through Gradcracker, which is really exciting news. Chloe, could you just tell the audience about what university you went to and what you studied?
Sure. So I went to Queen's University Belfast and I studied a Master's in Chemical Engineering.
Perfect, thank you, Chloe. Brief instructions to start off with, and then we're just going to go through individual roles. So Alex, on to you.
Hi, I'm Alex. I studied a Masters of Chemistry degree at the University of Lincoln.
And Catherine, last but not least.
Hi, I studied a Master's in Chemical Engineering at Newcastle University.
Fantastic, thank you everybody. Now to your current roles at Emerson. So Chloe, I know that you've got some really exciting news. So you've just actually got a new job at Emerson, which is really exciting. Could you kind of split your answer in two almost? So go through your old role and what your new role will be, and also maybe why you chose to apply to a different opportunity at Emerson.
Sure. So currently I'm in the engineering side of the business, based in Dublin in Ireland, and I kind of gone down this route of cybersecurity. So what I do is typically I'd chat to customers every day. I would, from the point of a salesperson selling a product to a customer, then like the engineers would come along and we would discuss the customer's architecture, how we could deploy the product, and basically how we can solve, the customer's problem. So that's engineering, and I've recently I'm moving into a sales role, a field sales specialist. So my new role, I'll kind of come before this point of engineering. I'll be the person that first makes contact with the customer, tells them how we can solve their problem, and sort of hopefully is successful, and then pass that on to the engineer to deploy the product or the project. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Chloe. And then do you know, can you follow the process through? So for example, you know, you've quoted the customer, you know what their issues are. Do you get to see the end result?
Yeah, absolutely. So at projects at the moment, you sit with the customer and you know their pains, and you know the issues that they're maybe having or that they want resolved, and you go through from developing the documents that you maybe need to develop around that, to actually maybe going on to a customer site and deploying it, and then afterwards they can tell you did a good job or whatever. So it's quite rewarding actually, going through the whole process. So it'll be lovely as well to now go into sales and to see a different aspect of it as well.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, Chloe, just from our listeners, it's not hardcore sales, is it? It's knowing, it's quite like a technical role, isn't it? A technical sales role.
Exactly. It's not like wheeling your wheelie trolley up to front doors and knocking on people's doors or like cold calling people. It's we know our customers, and definitely there's a really big technical aspect to it as well. So yeah, 100%.
Thank you, Chloe. And moving on to Alex.
Yep. So my role at the moment is as an internal sales engineer. So I'm really, when an inquiry comes into the business, I'll be working with the customer to provide a solution for them, providing a quote, and then hopefully winning the order if they like it enough. So I came into this role at the beginning of July, I think. So I kind of stepped off the grad scheme a couple of months early to get stuck into a full-time engineering role, which has worked out quite nicely.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to give a little bit of a shout out, Alex, to your teapot?
Yes, I mean, I got a reputation within the first couple of hours of being in Emerson for making tea the proper way in a teapot and not just in a mug. So I followed through with a joke that I made to Lee and actually got myself an Emerson teapot. See if I can.
I love the teapot.
Actually,
it's quite passionate.
Go on, off.
So, I've still not had a cup of tea though, Alex, I might add.
Well, I mean, current situation, offendingly, maybe sometime next year.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you for the description. Catherine, on to you.
So, like Alex, I'm an internal sales engineer, but for a different business unit. So I work it's called Measurement Solutions, and we try and solve solutions for pressure, level, temperature for the customers. So we'll look at measuring those parameters with the instruments we provide. So they will come and ask for an instrument of that type to measure something, and we will see which would be best, provide a quote for them, speak to them if we need to, and then send it over and hopefully win it. And we work closely with the field sales team, who will go there more based on customer sites, and we'll go in and visit and look at the instruments on site and basically speak to them about nearly every inquiry to get their opinion on it, because they have like the one-on-one knowledge with the customer and they've seen it in the plant, so they know a bit more about it, and it's kind of a collaboration between the two.
Yeah,
thank you. Solution.
Yeah, it seems all of your roles seem to be quite customer facing as well, which I think is really nice. Some of the students who we speak to as part of these webinars, it's very much based in you're not seeing customers, you're not seeing like the end product, and I do think it's really nice that you do get to see everything all the way through from start to finish, and you are meeting people as well. Lee, just a question to you. So do the graduates get to choose kind of what area they work in, or do they start at one area and then work around the business?
So the commercial graduates, they get rotated around the business. So for the first 12 months, they'll spend 3 months in 4 of the main business units that we have, and get exposure to those different business units. Typically what happens then around probably, well, it depends on obviously sort of the business at the time, but typically around probably the 7th to 8th kind of month in the role, we'll start talking to them about their first permanent position outside of the graduate program. And that could be in any of the business units they've experienced. It could even be in a business unit they haven't had experience of as yet. But we'll talk to them about all the opportunities that are available, and it's up to the graduate to decide perhaps which route they want to follow there. From the engineering, sorry, go on.
Sorry, that was my fault. I was going to say, could they be flexible on location there then as well? You know, if they want to travel, they could. If they say, I want to have, say, 6 months in Aberdeen, or
yeah. So typically, you know, the roles would be either in the Stockport, Aberdeen, or the Leicester office, because they're the three main roles. But they could come up in either of those offices. So the last graduate program we had, we brought in 8 graduates into the business. And we had sort of multiple roles that came up in Aberdeen, Stockport and Leicester. So actually the opportunities were there for all of the offices, and it was a case of talking to the graduates and understanding what their drivers and motivations were, location-wise, job-wise, and then ultimately, you know, selecting the right roles for them, really. So it depends sort of what comes up at the time, but it could be across any of those roles or locations, should I say. But certainly if somebody's got a real desire to work in one particular office, then, you know, we'll talk to them about that, and we'll try and accommodate that where we can as well.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lee, and thank you everybody for your introductions. Jessica, over to you.
I'll take the reins. Thanks, Carla, and thank you for your little insight. I'm glad you mentioned that. I think also as well, it gives a good insight to what Emerson are like as a business.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? You know, stepping you then in front of the board, and the board being interested in what you've got to say, and you know, they were all really complimentary, weren't they, about Grad Cracker after?
Yeah, definitely.
It shows as a business what Emerson's like.
Yeah.
Which is good. So back to you guys. So Chloe, Alex and Catherine, what initially attracted you to apply to Emerson, and which areas of the Emerson hub on Grad Cracker did you find particularly useful, and why? So Chloe, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I can remember, you know, going through Grad Cracker when I was first applying, and first of all, I actually really love the interface. Like, you know, you scroll through and all of the companies are there. You know the deadline. You know where it's based. You're not going in and out of stuff, and you know, trying to find, you know, that deadline's passed, can't do that, back out again. Really like the interface, but I particularly liked I particularly liked
to everyone at Grad Cracker.
I loved the Emerson hub itself. Like, you know, I was siphoning through, you know, the graduate testimonies and people that have been there from, you know, 6 years up until, you know, just last year. You know, everyone's got their little paragraph up. And the other thing that really attracted me to Emerson particularly was the opportunity to travel. So I remember it being mentioned as well that, you know, if the desire is there, you can. There's the opportunity to go, you know, travel not only around the country, but around the world. And yeah, love that, because what was mentioned as well in the thing itself. Sorry, it was that, you know, you start your training out in Cluj in Romania for you know, 3 months. So that was a big thing for me, was, you know, not only are you joining this new company and they're going to invest in your training, but you'll also get to travel and, you know, see a bit of the world as well. So that was a big one.
I'm focused on location a lot because I had a student ask me this week, actually, when I did a presentation regarding location, and they had a particular country they wanted to work in. And I said, you know, you might not always land your grad job in that particular country, but you've got to almost have a plan B and think, you know, where can I get to that position? And, you know, looking at companies like Emerson, you could actually use as a tool to eventually be, you know, potentially in the country or city or region you do want to work in.
Yeah,
so
like one of the graduates that started with me is in January, he's moving to Switzerland for 9 months to do work. So I know, amazing.
Lucky boy. Alex, same question to you.
Yeah, so I think I had a slightly different experience where I was searching for more chemistry related jobs, and was a little bit surprised when Emerson pops up on the like list of, hey, this is potentially something that you could do. So I ended up going in and having a look, because it sounded really interesting, not being stuck in one place doing one role. The fact that they mentioned, yeah, you'd go to Aberdeen, go to Leicester, go to Stockport, get all of these different experiences within the business. And it was really laid out quite nicely, because I wasn't used to using all these job hunting apps, but Grad Cracker was so easy to use. And I was just like, nice, there we go, let's have a look at that. And I think, to echo Chloe, really the testimonials were what sold it to me. Like reading what previous grads had gone through and the experience they'd had and the opportunities they'd had, it sold it to me. I was just like, right, this is the deadline soon. Let's apply to that. And hey, it worked out nicely. So yeah, it was really
Brilliant.
easy, and the opportunities that were just mentioned on that front page, yeah, sold it immediately.
So just the audience listen, I promise we haven't paid Chloe and Alex to say this. This is off the run, I promise. Come on, Catherine, do you want to follow that up?
I love the interface of Gradcracker. No, but it is very helpful and useful to use, and I enjoy like being able to save things that you'd seen, because it's so frustrating when you read a job role and you want to go back to it but you can't find it again because you've read in the meantime. Enjoy that you can just save it and click back on. I think my favorite bit of it was actually the video section, because you get a bit more of an in-depth like feel for the company and feel the people that work there, which was big for me. You obviously want to know that you're going to fit into the company yourself and be working with similar people to yourself, so that you'll get on and you'll work well as a team. I think teamwork, especially in probably all three of our roles, is very important, and I even at the moment manage to speak to my team, pretty much every single member, every single day. It's very important to be able to pick up the phone, to be able to speak to people. So getting a feel for how people are from the videos really did help me, along with the testimonials of people as well.
Brilliant. What we are thinking of doing with Carla, we are going to get our colleague Hannah, bless her, she's doing a lot of copywriting at the moment. We are going to do a bit of a blog about, how to get the most out of the company hubs, because everything that you three have just mentioned, is a great kind of a bit of advice to the audience that are listening. A lot of the questions that we get asked, how would you research? What should I be looking out for? And those kind of key things you've just said are, really good. So watch out for the blog that will be coming soon from Hannah. Anyway, less about us now, more about you guys. So
just to jump in as well, also, I don't want people going onto the hubs and looking for the word testimonials. So if you look at our people employee profiles at the top of the hubs, that's where you can find all of these sorts of things. And Emerson's got quite a few on there. So
brilliant, yeah. Cool. Okay, Chloe, sticking with you, I want to talk about assessment centres, if that's okay. So your assessment centre was in Ireland, close to Dublin. It included an overnight stay. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
And could you tell me a little bit more about the day itself and how you prepared for it?
Sure. So, I was invited to stay overnight at the hotel that the assessment centre was being carried out, which is lovely. It meant there was no panicked drive, that morning, panic, asking yourself questions in the car. But so that was great. The day itself was like, I went in and I was so nervous, just sweaty palms. How am I going to shake somebody's hand? And but like everyone, was put completely at ease. Like Lee was there. The whole day was set out really, really well. We went in. We had presentations from the management, about the company, about what your role could be if you're successful. Then we were asked to prepare a presentation beforehand. So it was nice as well, going in with something that you were really solid, that you'd practiced and that you knew, I can do this. There was competency-based questions as well, and then there was like a lunch where we went around and we spoke to the managers and some of the engineers, and kind of got a feel for the whole ethos of the company, and everyone was just so lovely. I came out and I remember just feeling like it was like what you said, Carla, earlier about you come out and you're like, whoa, I did that. I was like that was great. So yeah, really, really loved the assessment day. It was brilliant.
Well done. Lee, just a quick question. With the assessment day, have you decided what the assessment centre will look like this year, or shall I avoid and not go there yet? We don't know.
No. Obviously, given the current situation, we don't know where we're going to be sort of given come March and April time, typically when the assessments run. So I'm hoping and fingers crossed that we can have a face-to-face assessment like we have done in the past, because as Chloe just said there, it's a real valuable day. But if not, we'll move to some kind of virtual platform or virtual environment, but it's to be decided based on how things pan out
Yeah,
the next few months.
sure.
Really.
Yep, so obviously just the audience listening, it might not be exactly as Chloe experienced.
Yeah, it could be different. Yeah,
virtual maybe.
Fingers
Chloe,
crossed.
when we fingers crossed that there'll be it might be some elbow tapping instead of hand scraping. Chloe, when we spoke previously, you said that Emerson is looking at individual characters and personalities and someone who can fit with the Emerson culture. What would you say the Emerson culture actually is now you've experienced it?
I would say that the kind of common, something everybody has in common is that we're all problem solvers. We're all just trying to solve people's problems for them, So having that kind of a brain that's always thinking ahead, and just everyone's just really, really dead on. Like there's not one person you would go to with a problem or say, can you help me with this? There's not one person that would go, no, I am not helping you. Like just a really, really solid group of people, and we all know what we're working towards, and we all know everyone works as a team to get there. So yeah,
that's nice. All positive.
Yes.
Alex, I'm going to come to you next. You initially had concerns about I believe you've kind of touched on this, so I'm not just assuming. You initially had concerns about not being from of a technical background, am I right? And
Yes.
you studied Masters in Chemistry. How did you conquer these concerns during the assessment centre?
So my initial, when we got given the presentation, brief, this is what we had to present on the day as part of the technical interview face to face. My initial thing was I need to prepare everything. I need to look at every single question they could throw at me. Let's look at this, and this, and 100 different things flying about. But in the end, it was, I know I've done the work, I put in the work to this presentation. So all I can do now is really relax, be myself. I may not come from the sort of engineering background, but I have all of this other problem solving knowledge that maybe with the training that they can provide, I can bring myself up to speed. But I've done all this work. So just be confident that you've put the work in, and just, I went in and gave it my all with the rest of it.
That's good. Really, really good bit of advice there. I do apologise because my light's just gone off and I don't know why.
All of a sudden you just
So I did say to everyone before we start, just to the audience, so I do have some builders and stuff in the house today, and I went outside. I was like, from 2 till 3, please don't do anything. And they've obviously turned my lights off, so I do apologise if I'm a bit dark. So yeah, Alex, sorry, sticking with you. Can you tell us about, what was this? You did a building competition in your assessment centre with marshmallows or something?
Yeah,
what was
so
that all about?
It kind of came out of the blue. At the end of the day, we got told, oh, we'll do a team sort of exercise, which I guess was to gauge how we'd interact with new people and work as a team to overcome a problem. And we were presented with marshmallows and spaghetti. And we got like a price sheet, how much each marshmallow would cost. And the goal of it was to kind of pull together as a team and work through how tall of a tower you could build with as little money as possible spent.
Oh my God.
And it was really interesting because yes, we're all there competing and we all wanted the roles, but it almost it didn't feel like that anymore because you were all working towards, let's beat that other team. It became a really, really, really good team exercise where all the managers and all the other engineers could kind of see how you'd act in a situation where you're maybe put into a team that you haven't worked with before. So it was a really, really valuable experience, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I think our tower was slightly taller, but it did fall over after 5 minutes or so. So there was umming and ahhing about whether it'd be disqualified, but I think in the end we still won. I'm pretty sure we did.
Lee sat here like,
It's like, I've got to think of a different one this time.
I've accidentally given it all away.
I've just wrote down new group challenge now, so.
All the audience taking better note now. Right, that's how I need to do it. They'll be messaging Alex after. How did you Sorry, I need to be sensible now. Catherine, bless you. So sticking with the assessment centre, is it, you did a presentation, didn't you, for your assessment centre? Can you tell me how you prepared for this? For example, what software did you use? How long did it go on for? What was your subject about?
Yeah, so when we got invited to the assessment centre, I think about a week later, got an email telling us that there would be a technical presentation as part of the day. And we got the topic at that point. So you had about 2 weeks to prepare before the assessment centre. So I think it's a nice way to do it, in that in a working environment, you always have time to prepare, or most of the time you have time to prepare for things before you go and present it. And that's what I liked about Emerson, wasn't you turn up and you get thrown in the deep end of the technical problem. It was, here's a problem and you've got a couple of weeks to think about it and come back with your best solution, rather than seeing how quickly you work off the cuff. It was how well you work long term, maybe not under as much pressure as you would be in a nervous environment anyway.
Yeah.
And I just prepared a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
We had to send that in a few days before the assessment centre, just so that they had it on the systems ready to go. And that was one of the first activities I did on the day. We had a presentation from the director of the UK and I business for about an hour, and then straight away they said, right, we'll get your presentations done, because obviously you're all sat nervous, worrying about it, running through the presentation.
Yeah, I bet. Let's
get that out of the way so that that nervous energy goes away a bit. So I think it was about half an hour presentation.
Okay.
The topic was actually quite general. I think it was more of a see where you want to go with this, and it was probably more interesting for the people listening to the presentations if everyone took it down different routes. So they were the same things being regurgitated, and it was just tell me about the industrial Internet of Things was the topic.
Sorry, so everyone was given that same topic. Obviously, everyone's presentation would be different. Ah, interesting.
Yeah, and then you go down whichever route you...
Sorry.
Sorry.
Did you get to watch everyone else's presentation?
No, so the presentation was just before my competency-based interview. So it was kind of like jam-packed into one. We did the presentation for half an hour and then the questions for half an hour. So it's just in front of two people that were interviewing me, two of the directors. And then actually the UK and I director came in and asked if he could sit through my presentation. So he was there as well.
Wow, brilliant.
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
I was nervous, yeah. I don't think I quite realised who he was at the time. Now that I'm in the company, I think, oh gosh, had I have known who I was presenting to, it would have been a bit more.
Yeah, probably would have made you worse. Ignorance is bliss, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good question up to you all. Chloe, if you want to answer this one first. How were you all told that you were successful after the assessment centre day, and how did you prepare for your first day? So Chloe, come back to you.
So I'm pretty sure it was a couple days later. It wasn't I didn't have to wait, very long. I don't think it was a couple days after. I was emailed and just told you were successful, and this will be, I think they said this will be your first day and we'll send through your contract later, and congratulations, and that type of thing. And I remember as well, because it was it was a couple days before my birthday, and I remember being like, woo. But the first day, I think we were just told, show up to this address at this time. Dress code is, smart casual, and just, come prepared with, your pen, a notebook and pen, whatever. I don't even think we needed a notebook and pen. They had everything laid out, and the first week was just a case of onboarding. So getting your laptop set up and, getting your account set up on all your systems, your email. So it was quite relaxed. Yeah, it was quite relaxed. Mm-hmm.
Alex, do you have a similar experience?
So yeah, I was part of the bigger intake. So originally when we left the assessment centre, they said it could take quite a while to kind of get back to you. But I think about a week later, Lee called me up midday. I was just kind of sat at home doing some work on my dissertation, and I got a phone call, and Lee went, just suddenly halfway through, after getting a bit of feedback, just went, well, I guess I should let you have the news. And immediately I was like, oh no, it wasn't successful. And he goes, you've actually got the position. And I was just like, what? And my friend next door to me heard me go, whoa, through the wall. He was like, well, something good happened. So yeah, I got let know over the phone. And again, like Chloe said, they send out all of the details and the contract later. And they said, yeah, smart casual, come into the office with your pen, your book. I think all 8 of us turned up in full suits. Quite believe the smart casual yet. But yeah, as soon as you get comfortable, everyone's like, you'll take your blazer off, just sit there, roll your sleeves up. And it's a really nice, organized first day to kind of get you onboarded. But the feeling of you're not there to compete anymore, all 8 of you are now a team, was such a nice first day, and a good first week, really.
Yeah, I bet.
Great experience.
Lee, that must be a lovely part of your job.
Yeah, making the phone calls to give people the good news is great.
I bet you've heard some right reactions.
Yeah, I think I can't remember who it was. It might have been on your intake, Chloe. Someone who was at the train station and they screamed so loud they've been at the train station still. What's going on here? And then they suddenly went, oh, I'm at the train station, I forgot. So but yeah, no, it's great to give people, the great news. But on the flip side, the people that aren't successful, we also give feedback back to them, and it's delivered in a way which hopefully will prepare them better for their next assessment, their next interview, and so forth. So even when we have to deliver the bad news, it's not necessarily bad news as such. We try and give them that good feedback to help them progress next time.
Brilliant, and that's good, and that's a really important thing to kind of take on board. When you do give feedback, try and I guess when you get in the bad news, but try and take it as a positive as well. What can you learn from this? How can I kind of be a better person next time? Catherine, kind of same question to you. How did you find out? How did you feel?
Again, from a phone call from Lee. I was actually in Sainsbury's at the time. I don't think I that. So there's probably some music on and a tannoy in the background. But yeah, on the first day, actually, I'm based in Stockport, and that is where my first 6 months on the graduate scheme were. But the first week, they usually get all the graduates together in Leicester. So we stayed in a hotel for the first week.
Oh, nice.
We can all get to know each other, even when we're and across the country, and be a support to each other. And another part I like, which I've also been a part of for the past couple of years, is that in the first week they'll generally get their past graduates down for one of the days in the first week as well. Right. So you can meet those, ask them questions, and they've all been through the same experience as you. Generally, we also buddy up with one of the previous graduates. Okay. So you've got one individual person that you can go to for support. But to see everyone, and there's kind of like a bit of a community of ex-graduates within Emerson, and everyone will always make an effort to speak to you. And like when I got my permanent position, it gets announced via email throughout the company. A lot of past graduates messaged me on that day as well, just saying congratulations, and it's a nice camaraderie there. With
team spirit.
Graduates.
Yeah, brilliant.
Intake you're in.
Are you guys buddies yet then? Have you kind of been handed that baton yet, or?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool, brilliant. It's nice to give you the back of it.
Buddy for one of Alex's graduates years. So
I'm really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And I'm buddy to one of the new grads.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
It must be such a nice feeling though. Obviously you kind of know what it's like, how it feels, and it must be nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay, so let's kind of zoom to time now and see what is life like now. What does the typical week look like? What do you get up to? And starting with you, Chloe.
So at the minute, a typical week, people say no 2 days are the same, and you kind of go, okay, but literally no 2 days are the same. You could be every day there's phone calls with customers, with you have internal meetings before you have your meetings with the customers,
Mhm.
phone calls with project managers, salespeople, and then again, like drawing up documentation, maybe drawing architectural drawings. Oh, flip it. You could go on to customer sites. Like pre-COVID, it was a lot more common to go to customers' plants and carry out work in person, whereas now everything is kind of going a little bit more virtual. You're able to maybe remote into customer sites and do a little bit of work from home. But yeah, it's really great. There's two parts of the engineering team in Ireland. There's projects and there's service. So I'm on the project side. So you're kind of given your project by your manager, or maybe you have a couple of smaller projects on at the same time, and you're kind of just, you get on with it really. There's no like phone call every couple of hours saying, what have you done now, and are you still doing that? It's really nice. Like you're left to do it and you have your deadlines to meet, but as long as you meet everything and everybody's happy, then it's a nice work environment, even at home.
Have you found it, with your new role, starting your new role, doing it, I guess, remotely? What's the team like? Starting in a new team.
Yeah, the new team's been lovely, and I think they're all aware that because I'm coming on remotely, I feel like there's been even more contact because it's like they're trying to make up for the fact that it's remotely, that I'm they're always ringing and saying how you getting on and do you need a hand, and it's really nice to feel that support.
Yeah, well, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Alex, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, working from home now all the time, because I can do everything that I need to from home as an ISC.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of calling customers, sending emails, configuring all of these quotes for customers. But a lot of the time I'm on the phone to other members of my team because I'm still learning all of the things that I need to know technically. So it's nice to still be able to drop them a call out of the blue. And that's almost like the coffee break thing where, yes, I'm asking them something, but we can have a natter about, I don't know, the football or what you got up to the other evening. So it's that nice level of, you can have that personal, but also I'm getting work done on the side almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Chloe said, it's really like, I can't remember the word, but when someone says no, 2 days are the same, and you go, yeah. It really is. Nothing is the same every day. But yeah, it's been great so far. And again, coming into a new team virtually, you do almost have that over communication where you're making an effort to go out and talk to the team now, whereas in office it would almost be just, as the day goes on, you have these little conversations where now you've got to go out and hunt for them. But yeah, everyone's always up for a chat.
Good. Nice. Catherine, how about you? What does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day, yeah, similar at the moment, obviously working from home as well. I work as part of a team of 10 in my immediate team.
Okay.
Who, when we're in the office, we all sit together. And it's very much probably quite a loud office in that we're always communicating with each other. Either someone's on the phone to a customer or we're asking for each other advice, help. And that goes both ways. As one of the newer members of the team, I obviously go to more experienced people with technical questions that would lean on them for support with, but equally with some of the older members of the team, they haven't picked up how our systems work or like the changes to our system as quickly as I do. So they come to me for support on that as well. And it's very much an open door policy of, if you've got a question, please don't sit and suffer. Raise it, ask for help. My team have a group chat that's set up every day, and it is constant with questions of, has anyone noticed this issue before? Or I've got this problem, I've just spoken to this customer, does anyone know about this? And it's just constant communication, which is really nice. It feels very much like we're in the office. Obviously, it's just it took a bit of getting used to at first, remotely. And the same with customers, to be honest. The amount of people I've spoken to over the phone, and they're desperate for a chat themselves, and they want to catch up with or speak to somebody because they're used to being on site on a plant and as engineers around people all the time, and they're missing that interaction. So it's quite nice, actually. Found people are a bit more chatty since we've since we've gone remote.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we're all in the same boat at the moment, aren't we? So I think we're all kind of learning the new norm. Catherine, where, in terms of role progression then, where do you see your role going in the future? And what kind of training do Emerson kind of help with, for your progression? And have you got kind of an idea now where you see yourself going?
Yeah,
I've took like 4 questions at you there, so sorry.
Well, I'll start at the beginning. So whilst I was in the graduate scheme, the training we had was, so I did 3 months in each business unit for a year. So 4 business units, 3 months each. And depending on which unit I was in, depends on where kind of the factory essentially is. So, whilst I was with Valves, there was the opportunity to go to the Netherlands for a week training there. Which is just more in depth, and you get more hands-on. You can see the products more, and everything kind of clicks into place a bit more because you can see it in operation rather than trying to imagine it or just seeing video, like pictures. For the business that I'm in now, I did a week's training in Cluj whilst I was on the graduate scheme, and then again when I got my permanent role, I did another week, and that's standard for any new starters in my team. You would be expected to do 2 weeks training in Cluj. At the moment it's done remotely, but normally you would for 2 weeks. And not the site in Romania in Cluj is massive, and there's also a factory there, so it's very invaluable to actually go out there, and I met a lot of people that I'm actually in contact with on a daily basis. So my immediate team is in Stockport, but I actually use, there's about 4 or 5 different teams in Cluj. We have a docs team, we have orders team, we have technical support team. All of those are based in Cluj, and I'm on the phone to a lot of them like every week, sometimes on a daily basis, depending on what's going on. So to actually meet those people and go and get that human interaction is really nice as well.
Yeah, definitely, I bet. Last kind of question for you all. I know obviously we're at the beginning of your careers, but what's been the highlights so far, and what's kind of really resonated with you? Obviously, Carla, you've had your highlight of your career so far, one of them anyway, apart from working with me every day. What would your highlights be?
I think that's aged me, not giving me a highlight.
Who wants to go first? Chloe, do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. So I think my highlight is probably moving over to, moving to sales and having that opportunity. But in engineering, I always remember this one project that I did, and it was one of the first projects that I ever carried out with Emerson, and they said, we need you to go to this plant. It's on the west coast of Ireland, and the project will take a week. Okay, and I was like, okay, who am I going with? They're like, no, you're gonna go and do it, you'll be fine. And I remember being like, oh my goodness. It was a lot of responsibility to be that one point of contact for the customer and to carry out the project by myself. But I went and I got the first day over me, and I was like, I can do this, and this is actually fine. And first of all, to have your managers and your engineers around you support you and know they had the faith in me that I could do it. And then to come home again and get the feedback from the customer that Chloe did a really good job, and the project was perfect, and to come home then and have that feedback was it makes you think that all the training and all the work you do up till then, it kind of consolidates it and makes you go, okay, I'm good at this,
Well
we
done,
confidence based. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Well done. Alex, how about you?
So I haven't really worked on any projects per se, but definitely my most proud moment is I basically work as a dedicated sales engineer for one particular account, and it's been a lot of work sorting out all of their internal codes to match all of ours, the pricing agreement. So there's been a lot of things going on, but finally to see that taking shape and becoming a much smoother process, especially so early in this new role, that I got given this almost account to manage, which was a bit to see it coming together so smoothly is so satisfying, because I know when I see something coming from them, I can do it in 15 minutes compared to the hour that it might have taken me a couple of months ago. So that's been really, really satisfying to get done.
Well done.
Thanks.
But obviously, it's self-reflection on your hard work, how you've done it, and how you've faced the challenge. So again, well done to both of you. Catherine, how about you?
I'm going a bit different in that it's not with the customer. I was set a project at the beginning of the first lockdown, actually.
Okay.
Trying to speed up our quoting process and get rid of some of the niggly parts of the process which just take time that aren't technical, and we wanted to automate them. So the idea was that we were going to put automatic discounts in for specific end users at agreed pricing. And the project had been set up a year ago, and it had kind of really not gone anywhere. It had been neglected a bit. So my manager asked if I would look at it, and actually I ended up managing Alex's year of grad. So Alex helped on this project, and we managed to get the UK's discounts all set up within less than a month. And actually it was recognised on a European level from the European directors, and they came to us and asked how we'd done it so quickly, so that they could ask the other European countries to do it the same way. So that was nice. And I always find that within Emerson, no matter how, obviously there's managers and managers above me who were all overseeing the project as well, but all of the feedback from the European level always got filtered back down to say thank you to the
that's brilliant.
Doing the nitty-gritty stuff at the bottom. And you find that a lot with Emerson, that you get the congratulations is always fed back to you, which is
nice. And then you feel appreciated, don't they? And then you feel like, I did that, and that's really, really good. And again, it's a nice kind of testimonial to Emerson as a business, that you've got managers, you've got leaders, like that appreciate you all and backing you all the way. Carla, I'm going to hand back to you before I eat any more of your time. And sorry, Lee, I've also eaten into your time as well, because I know, Carla, you've got some more questions for Lee. But thank you very much, guys. It was really, really insightful.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. Thanks, everybody. Some really lovely stories to hear, really good experiences. And Lee, I kind of just want to finish on that. The grads have given some really, really good advice about going through the assessment centre process and the application process in general. And we're here, I did it at the beginning of the webinar, make sure you do your research, make sure you be yourself and everything else. And it's all brilliant advice, but it's quite generic. So I'm just thinking from your point of view, specifically thinking about Emerson and your recruitment process, are there any examples of candidates, including the 3 that we're with today, who really stood out for you, and what made them different? What did they do that was special? I'm just thinking students who are going to go through a process, which you don't know what it is yet, in the future, it might just give them some ideas. So, key points that you'd like to make.
Yeah, I think the key points for Emerson, sort of when you get to the assessment day, that's your opportunity to shine and stand out, and you're competing with, we see, I think, about 100 people over a 4-day period.
Yeah.
And we're looking for 4 or 3 in Ireland. So you've got to take that as your opportunity to stand out, and there's a fine balance, I think, between being too upfront and taking a step back. You've got to find that fine balance between making yourself stand out above the others, but in the right way. And I think with Alex, Catherine, and Chloe, it's about sort of talking to the right people at the right times at that assessment centre, asking questions, and we've got a lot of people, and we have a lot of people there for that, for that exact reason, to ask questions and to make yourself stand out. So when we have a debrief at the end, what we're looking for is the directors that are there on the day, the assessors that are there on the day, are saying, do you remember Chloe? She asked this really good question. She really stood out. And do you remember Catherine coming to us and talking to you about this particular thing? And Alex was really good because he asked me X, Y, and Z. And I think that's what we look for. We're looking for those ones who are a bit more outgoing in terms of asking those questions and not being afraid to ask those questions, rather than perhaps the ones who take that little bit of a backseat and hope that it will get them noticed or get them through.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's a bit generic, so apologies if that's you know, a bit of a generic overview of what we look for. But and that's another reason why we don't do all the psychometric testing and all these different kind of tests, because we really value the individual as who they are and what they can offer, as opposed to a 98 score mark on a psychometric test or whatever it may be. We're really looking for that individual to stand out and shine to us on the day.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Lee. And just putting you on the spot here a little bit, but the students who are, you know, in the audience now, they've got a lot of options to different employers that they can apply to. You know, we've got literally thousands of opportunities on GradCracker at the moment that the graduates and obviously undergraduates can apply to. From your point of view, why Emerson? You know, what makes you different? What makes you stand out? And why should a student apply to you and your opportunities?
I think we've heard, hopefully, from the 3 graduates today, you know, what we can offer and what Emerson is. And yes, we're a multinational, worldwide organisation with, you know, massive turnover. But actually, when you get into the UK organisation, it very feels like a close-knit family kind of organisation. And the investment we'll, you know, put into our employees and development we'll put into the graduate programme is all there to develop that individual however they want to take their career. So, you know, that investment that we'll put into the graduate programme is probably our key highlight, really. You know, you'll get a buddy, you'll get a mentor, you get a dedicated resource like myself to help you through the programme. You get access to, you know, the key people within the business. So Stuart Brown, who's our VP, is very active in the programme. We'll all 3 of the graduates on the call would have met and had conversations with him. And it's just getting access to those kinds of people that will actually fast track your career with Emerson. The training that we deliver, as I think Catherine mentioned, the visits to the factories. Chloe mentioned about the boot camp training that we have in Cluj. It's all investment in our people to make them, you know, to progress their career and fast track their career to where they want to be. So that's the key thing for us. But on the flip side, you know, it's not all work related. We do a lot of other stuff outside of the work. So we do, you know, family barbecues, and we do summer get-togethers. And this year, unfortunately, hasn't been the same in that respect. But you know, we spend a lot of time making our employees feel really welcome. So yeah, we're active on the STEM, we're active on WizSTEM, all these kind of good initiatives that you can get involved in. Will really, hopefully, you know, make you enjoy your job and get up in the morning and you go to work with a smile on your face and not with that, oh, my alarm clock's going off again. Work. So, and that's what we try and do. We just try and make it that kind of environment. So hopefully that's the appeal that we can offer. Yeah,
I think, you know, just a second that from an outsider looking in from Emerson, I mean, these are the smiliest bunch, Jess. You know, you're always smiling away.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, and when I went to Harriet as well, I was kind of going into the whole Emerson world, and everybody was there, and they did make me feel so welcome, and they are honestly, genuinely a lovely bunch. So make sure you're that person that Lee's calling to wish you congratulations, and obviously keep letting us know if you are that person. We want to put your testimonial on GradCracker, so fingers crossed for you all. And thank you everybody for joining us today. It's been a really, really brilliant webinar, really insightful with loads of information. And Chloe, good luck for your future. Alex and you all too. And Lee, I'll probably speak to you next week, love.
Yeah.
And so don't forget, everybody, the webinar recording will be on the Emerson Hub as of tomorrow, and it will be broken up into all the different sections on the Career Centre next week as well. Emerson are closing their opportunities on the 31st of January, but don't leave it until the last minute. You know, there's lots of people applying, so make sure you get your applications in, reference the webinar, reference the Emerson Hub. You know, Lee and I spend a lot of time working on it and making it, you know, putting as much detail on there as we can. And, you know, that the graduates have mentioned their favourite bits on there as well. So yeah, thanks everybody. Next week, Jessica is taking a break. Jessica, who's now in the light.
Oh no, I don't know. I have light.
is taking a break, and I'll be joined with Sophie, my colleague we've met before, and we are joined by financial services company Morgan Stanley. So somebody completely different next week. So thank you everybody, take care, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.